Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, y'all? Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. What's going on? Anywho, I'm Angelica with In God's Timing. This morning, I'm coming to talk to you all about a few different things. Okay. Um, the biggest thing is titled the video, family. Okay. Sometimes we have to have those conversations like that. Okay. This morning, I'm just going to talk to you kind of like get some stuff off my chest, but just have a little, conversation. Let's talk. And more so me talking. Okay, let's talk because there's some things that have been frustrating me. Too much going on, and focus on some other stuff. Okay, so I don't hold. What is it? I don't care to fake. I don't care to play games. I've been having to tell more people lately. I got three little girls. I got three kids, so I don't play with children. I don't play with adults as far as if they're children, conversation wise. A lot of times, especially, when you get to a point where sometimes people, we respect, everybody, but sometimes we can get in our feelings sometimes where we don't have a level of respect for each individual, you know, as far as whether it be job, whether it be, family, friends, even your kids, just it's a level of respect that I demand where I'm at in my life right now. And just with different things that I've been dealing with, I'm like, Lord, you gotta be about to do something big. I'm like, ain't no way. I'm like, when I was doing what I wanted, big on family. That's how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. Being big, getting together. I grew up, me and my cousins grew up together from different ages, going to grandma's house, eating, spending time with family. The things that we take for granted now, just even having time with family, and your children or whoever. So I've always been like that. But then as you get older and you not only just mature, but throughout life, you will end up being connected to people that are more than family, right? They may not be your blood, but they may be, you've built a relationship, loyalty on top of, you kind of look out for each other. And that's what I've inquired over the years too, where it's people that I've grown in relationship with, that I call family now, even though they're not blood. So with me being big on family, and sometimes we have to have them family conversations, stuff that we don't want to talk about, a lot of things that we ignore and brush off. We at a time where, kind of like everybody just do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. Let me do the best that I can do. I don't care about nobody else or whatever. That's fine to a certain extent. But in the time frame and zone that we're in right now, I don't always want to. Come on, we're gonna be transparent on here because I told the Lord when you come on, I have to be always real. I don't care to sometimes, worry about what other folk got going on. Want to be as compassionate, and other things, but it's something that God placed on the inside of me. It's a part of my gift. It's a part of who Angelica is, where I care a little bit too much, So he's been teaching me to guard my heart, and he's been moving people out of the way. With it being springtime, weeding folk out, family, friends, people close, and that's the thing. A lot of times it's people's closest to you. But God has allowed me to see that everything is for a reason. We're happy for each other. We want to see each other do well. And then some folk unconsciously want to see your demise, unconsciously get slick, jealous, envious. And I'm not that type of person. I'm blessed when I see other people blessed. It blesses me to see people graduate. It blesses me to see people succeed, or the Lord blessing their families. And everybody's different. Everybody's not the same, but that's just how I am. So it's unfortunate, and it rubs me the wrong way when it's not reciprocated. Because a lot of times we have to think about, it's a heart thing. The things that we're dealing with right now, it's a heart thing. So like I said, with family, how important it is, not only your blood family, but to take those that have been there for you, take those that through thick and thin. I'm one of those ones, I'm not going to tell you everything you want to hear. And then don't tell me everything I want to hear, because that's not a true friend. And then that's not family either. because the truth hurts. We sit back and watch each other go on about so many different things, and we don't correct anything. We don't say anything. But then when we see our family members struggling or hurting or going through stuff, some of this stuff of which I done told folk I'm not going to conversate about over and over again, we contributed to. We have helped enable people. We've helped enable ourselves through entitlement, through so many different things, on top of generational curses, on top of your own stuff you did. It's a lot, okay? Baggage. I told the Lord last night, early this morning, I dropped the weight off, okay? I can't carry everything. I cannot do everything. This is a bit much, okay? As far as just the hits that was coming. And I'm just like, Lord, have mercy. So taking it back again to remember that I'm fighting not only for myself, I'm fighting for my kids. So I'm fighting stuff so they don't have to fight, right? On top of I'm fighting my own stuff as far as stuff, choices that I made, bad decisions, generational curses, all that different stuff, on top of stuff from my mama, daddy, kids, fathers, and their side and both sides. It's a lot, right? So where we at right now, this generation has a lot that's going on. So I still have to thank God for despite everything, because the biggest thing has been for me is consistency. That's one of the areas I struggle in. Sometimes you start stuff and then you don't finish. You want to, you're trying to be effective in everything you do. That's one of my biggest goals. But I have been doing it. The Lord's been showing me that being effective in every area of my life, whether it's been the kids, the job, or whatever. Being effective, that means making an impact, a positive impact, being you. So some of the things that came to mind, I thank God for favor. If it wasn't for, because I still don't, all the money in the world, everything, but if it wasn't for favor and God placing people in my life to be a blessing, on top of, I'm going to say, before I even stepped out with In God's Timing, what is it? I actually started doing these live videos in 2020. He gave me the vision in 2019. Prior to that, it was like a good 7 to 8 years. I was going through stuff, being corrected. Look, he started pressing in on me hard as far as my life, the choices I was making. Mama couldn't bail me out. Daddy couldn't bail me out. Some things that you have to deal with yourself. I'm not saying that family and friends aren't there to help you along the way, but we get to a place sometimes where I go through this, you and God. I'm talking to believers from that aspect. So, I went through stuff prior to him even sending me out. He allowed, with teaching and lessons and hits and spiritual warfare and so many different things before he actually pressed in on me to step out in another realm as far as doing the videos and now doing all this other stuff, right? I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to. Like I mentioned, some people, they want the glory, they want the fame, they want the fortune. I looked at it a little farther beyond the lights and was like, I don't want all that. Okay. The hits. I said, some folk that do social media, they got a lot of time on their hands. Okay. They do a lot of these videos and stuff. Cause I tell you, I'm like, do these folk work? Okay. Some folk, they do a lot. I just question. This is me. I'm like, do they work? Because they do all these vlogs and it's nothing wrong with, certain things to a certain extent, but it's like, you got a lot of time on your hands. You don't go through nothing. So one of the biggest things that the enemy stole from me, but I missed it and allowed it, was time. You can't get time back. Time waits for no man. So that means through bad choices, the good, the bad, the ugly. As I mentioned, the generation curses, all these different things that was coming into play. And even just God dealing with me those 7 and 8 years, probably like 8 years prior to starting In God's Timing, was a correction moment. I've had those moments where, it's not fair. It doesn't make sense. They get to do what they want to do and get away with it. I always get a spanking. I can't get away with nothing. It's harder for me. We have those moments sometimes, some of us, where it feels like things are harder. I chose not to, lay down with certain folk to get to where I wanted to get to. I chose not to steal. We all got a past, but it's just certain things that wasn't my thing or I gravitated to. even growing up, just stealing was never my thing, or the sneakiness. Some things just wasn't my thing. So I'm just like, Lord, I'm going about things the right way. I'm trying. Look, I'm trying to cuss folk out. Come on, we're gonna be real, because people take you there. So I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? So in 2019, like I said, you talking about this is before even the pandemic even hit, right? He was pressing in on me. Go, start. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. This was never anything that I saw in my scope of vision as far as what I'm doing now and where God is pushing me to. It was never a part of what even I saw coming. So this is why I understand why he pressed me so hard about cleaning up my life. Okay, certain areas. And we all have strongholds. We all have areas that we need to work on. This is why I'm so transparent to let people know, especially with the church, because we've become to a place where you got to be so perfect. Your kids got to be perfect. Your mama got to be perfect. Your daddy got to be perfect. No, it don't work like that. You still have other things that factor into real life. So when he pressed me out, and just even I think over the past few years, how in 2020, I think that's when I started doing the videos. I started on Facebook Live or whatever, started doing the videos and stuff. And I didn't want to. I didn't care to. I don't even really care for social media like that. Like, I'll glance and get on there, but it's not, it's not something that I really stood like that. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't. So for him to push me into an uncomfortable zone, something that I don't care to do, and then you telling me to talk, you telling me to share stuff that I don't really care to share. It's like, Lord, what is this? So these past few days, it's been a lot going on. I'm like, Lord, what in the world? So I understand too, and I think about how some folk must not be no threat. Because for folk to just act like they don't go through nothing, and all the different things that are taking place, I've even had to just stop having certain conversations with people, because you'll get to a place where it's like everybody's not gonna get it. Everybody's not gonna understand. As believers, spiritual things are discerned by people that are led by the Spirit. So I may be talking to somebody and you're not even on my level. You're not even gonna understand. But at the same time, because we are such in a place, and we have for so many years, we look at the outer appearance, we look at titles, we look at degrees, we look at what you have on the outside to depict what you have on the inside, which don't even make sense to it. It's honestly kind of like a contradiction. It's opposite. Because if you think about the gospel and you think about how Jesus moved when he was in the earth, he didn't use or even go to the ones that were perfect. But somehow throughout the way, I guess from us being conditioned and just stuff going wrong, we have this depiction of we have to be perfect in everything. Right? So this is why I tell people, I'm not your pastor. I'm not your psychologist, your therapist, anything. I'm just gonna keep it all the way real. Because we all have areas that we fall in. So when I tell people I didn't have all the money, everything didn't come easy for me. This is why I grind the way I do. This is why I push the way I do. At the same time, I get attacked hard. When you're striving to do the right thing, you're gonna get attacked. If your children, if you're anointed and you're called, or even God has just chosen you and your family is going to get attacked in different ways. So everything starts in the spiritual first, but then it's in the natural, right? So whether it be generational curses, whether it be drugs, whether it be poverty, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to run from it. So we get to a place where we try to put so much in place to keep from things happening. And those very things, even myself, the very things that I strive to fight, to not do, those are the very things that came up. So God dealt me, you're going to have to face these things as far as these giants, these generational curses, even though I didn't ask for it. I wasn't expecting this. Nobody told me. I didn't sign up for this. But you're going to either have to fight it or it's going to take over you. So you have a generation that's suffering, that's going through things, mental health, this, that, and the third, sins that have matured. So many things that have matured over time that seem passive, right? So when I talk about favor, I have people tell me, "Oh, you make it look so easy being a single mom, or you make it look so easy doing this," and that's on the outside looking in. I tell folk all the time, and I tell, look, meet different people, men, women, whatever. Wait, do things the right way. Learn from people around you, right? I wish I would have, well, I ain't gonna say, I do wish, I do. If I would have known a lot of the things that I know now, or even just the knowledge and basic understanding that I have now, I would have done a lot of things differently. A lot of things, whether it been having kids, school, relationships, a lot of things. But it is those very things that makes me me. It is those very things that have humbled me, that has taught me to even just appreciate the little things, even from the mistakes that I've made, choices, looking at family or just different things. It has made me who I am today. So a part of that, like I said, with favor, like recently I was thinking about just relationships that I have with people, how people like, you just got this and you got that. And I'm like, no, how I didn't even realize God was working behind the scenes with relationships or people that I've met, whether it was through work, wherever, okay, family, friends, whoever. And I'm one of those ones, I don't ask for help. I don't know. I guess, especially in the Black community, we're so strong. We have become so independent, especially the women, and God has been dealing with me on different levels, just maturing me on so many different things that we were taught, or we, what's the word? Adapted, I guess you can say, from parents, grandparents, from our environment that was not healthy. Okay, certain mindsets, that's what it is. Certain mindsets that wasn't healthy. So he allowed me to see, through those 7 or 8 years, he was dealing with me, correcting me, you can't do this, you can't do that, clean this up, which I had the choice, I could. Look, I lost, I ain't gonna, loss is real, where I had to leave so-called relationships that were unhealthy. Trying to make stuff work that don't make sense. Sometimes we do that. School, everything, I'm operating out of my flesh to get where he's taking me to. So up throughout those years, obtaining favor. So people think you just, you got it all together, but not looking, you see the outside part. But people that know you or may have been around your experience, they see sometimes your struggles, the hardships or whatever. But it didn't come easy for me. You got folk out here that labored, that suffered, that went through stuff. I even sometimes feel, convicted about even complaining. I have to ask God to forgive me, because it's somebody that's always going through something worse than you are. And a lot of people, I do a lot of bickering and competing. I don't want to compete with nobody. I don't care to. I don't care to fade. I don't play games. Like I said, I have 3 children. It's too much going on right now. But anywho, so even with my girls, give this as an example. Because I obtained favor with different people. Say if I didn't have the money, but because I've built relationships with people, my girls, they would do my girls' hair, young ladies that I would meet, okay? Wouldn't even charge me them because 3 girls, that's a lot of money. Come on, especially how they charging nowadays. I get it. Get your money. I get it. Okay. It costs. You got children, you got a family, it costs. So when I say God making a way out of no way, he will give provision. He will allow you to taste and see that if you seek me, even we don't even deserve it. Even when I was still in my foolishness, strong, he still made a way out of no way. Okay, whether it was somebody blessing me or even it was just a few dollars to make sure we had something to eat. I don't take those things for granted. So when I look at, even just favoring how God will send people to be of a help in your life, so he will give provision for the vision. But at the same time, we want everything perfect, right? We want everything easy, don't want nobody to bust your head, get no hardships. So that's why I say I had somebody tell me that I was insensitive. And I said, I had to think about that thing because, you don't want to get offended and stuff like that. And they said it in so many words. They didn't use exactly insensitive, but that's basically what they were saying. When you at a level of maturity, okay, especially when you get older, right? Certain things, you should be a lot more mature, put it like that. You shouldn't still be doing what somebody else is doing that is a little lower than you. And I'm not calling them low, but I'm saying as far as just levels, right? You still doing the same thing. So for you, to somebody that may seem insensitive, but at the same time you should be a lot further than you are. I'm not going to keep having the same conversations with people, whether it be folk in the church, family, whoever. None of this stuff is new. As far as, I mean, we seeing it a lot more transparent now, but none of it is new. So when I see and deal with folk that's, having conversations about, it's sad how your family don't even see you. They don't understand. So when I see people and I'm like, you don't see your loved one hurting? But because we are so materialistic, because we get so caught up in the world, even just going to church. I go to church and everything else, but I don't do this what I'm doing as far as just everything just cause. I don't go to church just because. I don't push and press and seek God and love him or deal with people nasty attitudes or the disrespect or even just being stripped of certain stuff just cause. It's because I trust him. Because he showed me over and over again that I can trust him. I can trust him more than family. I can trust him more than everybody else. So this is why I push and I press. Why I go on about my day, even when I don't feel like it. It hurts my heart. I see so many people that are taking themselves out of here, losing their mind. That's how I know God is so intentional on how he moves. And he even pressed on me before the pandemic hit, even through the pandemic. Start and push, go. I need you to start, go. I'm like, Lord, this year I'm gonna learn how to swim. You know how they say a lot of black folk, we don't know how to swim when I do so. That's a lie. That's stereotype, because I know quite a few black folk know how to swim. But I said, this is the year I'm gonna learn how to swim, because I've been thrown out in the water, walking on water, doing all this different stuff, stepping outside of my comfort zone. I said, I'm gonna learn how to swim this year, Lord. But I said, a lot of times he has to push us because we won't do it on our own. Because as people, we will enable each other and we end up actually causing more damage. So with our families, on the job, we're seeing how more and more, let me say it like this. I can see more and more how a lot of people are mentally off, how life, trauma, tragedy, strongholds, reality will throw you off. Because, we all start off strong. Like I said, children are so cute when they're small and they're innocent. We striving to do the best and, what we can do in life, but it's a lot that's going on. So now we're seeing so many manifestations of the reality of things that we tried to overlook, things that we tried to fight. So when I see like my own people or I see, the same stuff, I'm like, Lord, this is the most. Even with just the level of shadiness that I'm seeing, that we all see, whether it be, look, from businesses to family to, you have some cases where we all family, we love each other, right? We say, I want to see you do well, but slick behind that, you really don't want to see some people do well. It's a competition. And like I said, some of it is unconsciously, and some people are not aware of what they're even doing, right? But it's like, slick, you don't want to see them do well. You don't want to encourage anybody. You want to help anybody. So I'm like, do people want more? Do we really want better for our children? Do we really want to stop seeing a lot of stuff that's happening? Because by the actions, come on, the mouth is saying the right thing, but the actions are not matching what we see. So that's a contradiction. So we see the contradictions in the church. We see it in government. We see it in our families, just so many different areas, social media. So what is a contradiction? Okay, it's inconsistent. It's opposite of what the truth is. I mentioned in the beginning that a lot of people want people to tell them what they want to hear. So people get a thrive out of praise, get a thrive out of accolades, get a thrive out of a pat on the back, which is nothing wrong with your affirmation. But you can get in trouble seeking approval of men, of people, of whoever, because then you end up changing, altering things, or then you more people and what they think about you, what they think about your kids, what they think about what job you have. So I'm like, Lord, when he was giving me these different things, and I'm just like, we see all these different perspectives, right? But most people are showing the perfect perspective or striving to show this is what you get and this is how you get there. don't really go through nothing. I'm like, that's not realistic. I can't relate to that. Folk that ain't been through nothing. So with me saying that, I said I've had some situations recently where it's been a common conversation about how we tear each other down, as far as women, especially Black women against Black women, right? Other races, how we, I guess you say, maybe condescending or belittle each other, all across the board, but strongly in the Black community, right? So it's just been like, Lord, what is this? Because it's like, it's a setup. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's exactly what it is. It's a setup. So when I say mentally, a lot of people off or conditioned to think that, let me say it like this, where we're at right now, because of generational curses, because of strongholds, because of regret some people have, wish I woulda, coulda, which is real, right? All of us have had regrets, things that we wish we could look back on. I wish I would have did things differently. You know, it's damaging people, especially in the Black community. So when I talk about how we have so many different strongholds, we are a part of the change. Nothing's going to change on its own. So the part that I think was really beginning to bother me and not sit well, and I told the Lord recently, I said, Lord, I ain't with everybody. I want no parts of the continuous foolishness. I don't care if it's family, on the job, any area of my life. I don't want to deal with it. I don't care to deal with it. Let me put it like that. So we'll have conversations too. Let's get back on the family. So we have a lot of the broken homes. We have a lot of, let's talk about things that we've been hearing about. Children out of wedlock. A lot of, they say baby mamas and baby daddies. So from that aspect, we know the home was broken up, a lot of different things that was happening. This is nothing new, right? When you don't work on yourself, this is why I get confused, or I ain't gonna say confused. I get baffled by folk can say you can do what you want to do and get away with it. Because like I said, that 7 to 8 years prior to this, it was certain things I had to stop. Certain things I had to change. Certain things I got corrected on. Okay? Even if I failed, the Lord checked me. So this, you can do whatever you want to do aspect of live your life to the fullest with no consequences is a straight up lie. Okay? It's a lie. You have a choice. You can do what you want to do, but it comes with consequences. So we'll sit back and talk about each other. Oh, they pregnant again, or he got this many kids, or they just got a divorce. You know how folk do. They'll look like a whole narrator, tell your whole life to everybody. Oh, they did this. Oh, they think they better than everybody else. Some of the stuff be true and be real to a certain extent, right? But at the same time, it's like you saying all this different stuff, but you ain't tired. Not tired of the same stuff. So when I was talking about if you don't address and face certain things, it's gonna come back again. So I be telling folks, these cute little grandkids, they babies now, these cute children. What you think, if we're dealing with all this right now in this generation, all different ages and everything, what do you think the next generation, the ones that are coming up now and after, will have to fight and deal with? So certain things, if we don't fight now, if we don't deal with now, talk about now, look, I'm like, too many folk is getting taken up out of here. Okay, whether God allowed it, something unfortunate, bad decisions, overdosing, too much stuff. You got a choice. So we hear that saying where Black folk always late. You never heard it? It's kind of true, just a little bit, right? How people say, and we say amongst ourselves, they always late. The one that got the macaroni and cheese, she supposed to bring the macaroni and cheese, she always late. Family members, you can't ever be on time. Those are areas that we do, I even myself have to work on, on my time management. I've been praying about it. But when you think about it's all these different things that play into that factor into why are you late? Okay. Certain things that you do in life, it don't affect everybody else like it affects us. So when we have those situations that come about and people point the finger and you better do this and you should do that, we all suffer and go through. But at the same time, You don't know what somebody else is going through, how much they might be fighting, pushing, oppressing. This is why I get irritated when folk go to funerals or something happens to somebody and they all like, oh, we didn't know. We missed it because you weren't paying attention. You have children, grandchildren, I'm talking about all different ages that are crying out, whether it be through drinking, whether it be through outbursts, whether it be through whatever, that are crying out for help but don't know how to express it, right? But because of entitlement, because of, we trying to do, the things the right way, you doing the best way you can, people are suffering. So I had told God, I said, Lord, all this different stuff from the job, okay? I said, I know a lot of folk now, especially during this pandemic, working in healthcare. It was already a lot, right? Stressful could be a lot, but especially now, and especially through this pandemic part, the heat got turned up. It was a whole nother ball game as far as the stress level, the work level, being short, the amount of deaths, everything. And for those that are, as a believer, you talking about doing stuff in the spiritual and the natural, seeing stuff just like this is on a whole nother level. Talk about getting our attention, Lord. But to many people, it's just things just coincidentally happening. I don't believe in coincidences. So when I see all these different things happening or occurring, like I said, with the family, come on, the family. So you have some women, you messing with everybody, and then you have kids. Or then you have some, because, we get stereotyped on so many different levels as a whole, but especially the Black community, right? So you can make mistakes and make the wrong choices, but ours, it's like it's a lasting impression. They say there's second chances or you get another opportunity. But then I'm like, Lord, this got to be a setup. Because I'm like, we do certain things and it affects us a whole lot differently versus someone else, they can bounce back. It's okay. On top of maybe you may have family that can help you along the way, right? But if you haven't learned balance and if you haven't matured, you end up right back in the same boat. So I'm like, Lord, you get frustrated and you get tired because you have from business to family that everybody is still off. I'm like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, make it make sense. So even with jobs and businesses and things like that, the level of shadiness, like you got people that saying that they believers, they Christians, but you operating out of a way that's shady. And you think God gonna bless that? But because you say, I trust God and I believe God and I'm saved and sanctified and you speaking in tongues and you go to church on Sunday and Easter Sunday and Christmas and everything else, that you, this behind the scenes stuff ain't gonna come forward. So God comes to he comes for the church first, right? That's us. Folk go to church every Sunday, want to be perfect, or don't want people to see their skeletons. This is why I say, Lord, just put it all out there. I ain't look. My life been transparent my whole life. I ain't got look. I don't got time to hide. You can't run from God nowhere. But the part that, like I said, really hurts my heart is the level of shadiness. Like I said, even with business, how God is pushing up entrepreneurship, and He's been doing it. Okay, everybody is in different seasons, and everybody's on different levels. So God has been using different people at different time zones, right? Or different eras, different phases to step out into entrepreneurship, to step out and just do different things. So are you a good steward over what you have? That means using wisdom or whatever. So I tell people every aspect of my life, I incorporate it now. Everything that I've went through, right? Bad decisions, bad relationships, abuse, school, hits, different things, kids, everything that I've learned, everything that I've been around or observed, I use it in every area of my life. That's how God has taught me to use it in every area of your life. Common sense, right? If you got played in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Somebody manipulated you, or all these folks talking about narcissism and all this other stuff. Okay, use that in the workforce. You can use that in the workforce. You can see when somebody's trying to do you or run game. You can see that in your family. Come on, that's what I mean when I say using what you learn in every area of your life, discerning stuff, right? So when you do that, that's how you can build. Even in business, you can grow and mature. Certain times we allow people to step over us. or walk on us, right? Like a doormat, okay? We see that in a lot of aspects, especially in the Black community. So now I see this, it's an epidemic. I'll be honest, I'm like, Lord, this is like an epidemic, blind. So when I was talking about, thank you, Holy Spirit, about how they'll say Black folk, we late to everything, or we not on time, and Lord help us, because we working on it. We waking up, we working on it. How with them saying that, and just the reality of it, just briefly saying, it seems like everyone else around us recognize what's happening, what's going on right now. Even the things that we still deal with today, as far as the Black community, as far as the killing, the shooting, the broken homes, the dysfunctional stuff. I told somebody the other day, I said, man, Black folk need, 3 days out of the year at least, and really need more than that, that's paid for mental health. Okay, just to take paid leave, just to woosah, get your mind right. Because when I even just think about my own stuff, or people that I talk to or conversate with, we done went through some stuff. And we still, some of them, everybody's different. Some of them, life took over, because it's a lot, whether it been drugs or whatever, or, just trying to, single parents dysfunctional, or whatever, but we've been pushing. So, I'm like, Lord, this is some real stuff. So this is why I be telling folks, you never know what a person is going through. But we have been conditioned and taught to take and take and take on every level, even with family, even from every aspect, from the family, from to the job. That's okay. It's dysfunctional as hell. Hell is real. It's dysfunctional. That's what is it? That's got doggone crazy. Where you just take and take, like you get to a point where you like, this can't be real. Like this is sick. And I'm just like, Lord, even just the mindset of certain things I see, people conversation, I'm just like, this is all right. So we in a generation, we have been where really our folk dying out like dinosaurs. So we supposed to just go about every day until we die. The devil is a lie. Just however you go off, however you get, whether it be an accident, whether it be drugs, whether it be lost your mind, whether it be stress, broke heart, whatever it is. I'm just like, y'all ain't tired of this? Like, am I the only one that's seeing it? This is just how I think, right? And it's not just me. Because I said, Lord, many are called, but few are chosen. So, I'm just like, certain things that rub my spirit and bother me, we sit back and look, it is a lie for people to tell you that you can do what you want to do and there is no consequences. That's just basic common sense. You can steal and rob all you want. You can commit crimes all you want, but it's going to come a day where it's going to catch up to you. Folk that sell drugs or do this, even in corporate America, I don't care who you are. When you wicked and corrupt, the things that you do, it comes back on every level. I don't care how small it is, how big it is. I've learned that the reaping and the seed, the reaping and the sowing and the seeds and all that, look, it come back. So look, I trust God. I believe him. So when he pushed out on me and, to step out, and it won't just me, that won't say many are called, but few are chosen. I've seen different believers that God has been pushing to the forefront on different levels, right? Because that's just like with the scripture on the stewards. If I give you a gift, or I've given you access or ability, whether it's finances, because everybody is not educated like that. So that was a conversation recently that I've had with a few different people where, what if you didn't finish school? Or what if you made mistakes and, come on, had kids out of wedlock and, but then you learn, you learn from your mistakes, you learn the hard way, but you getting it, we categorize everything as if you don't have this and this and this in order, you don't deserve a second chance. But then you get grouped and stereotyped with everybody. So I get irritated with some of these women where, like I said, everything comes for everybody the same, where some will abuse the system. Come on, I'm all over the place, but it's going to come together. All over the place. You do have some women, come on, not just Black women, that abuse the system, that abuse their help or whatever, right? They have children for a check. They have children with different men or, a baller. It ain't just the low income ones. It's the higher level ones too, that'll get a man to get them pregnant. They have a baby so I can get security. Let's not play. Let's be real, right? It's levels to this. But then you have some that make mistakes and I learn from it, but it's harder. It's like the ones that make the mistakes and come to a revelation and the light bulb go off. It'd be harder for us. So when I deal with some even family, and I just be like, just be quiet. Be quiet. Okay? Be quiet. How dare you? Even those that have everything, that think they have everything. This is why I'm at a place where I've been like this for a while, especially now, where my heart goes out to people on all different levels. I ain't have to go through what you went through to have compassion or be able to relate to you or, just everybody has their own struggles. But what is this thing, especially in the Black community, where you will have people, we will help and enable the same ones over and over again. And you wonder why they don't learn, and you wonder why they go through stuff. And you wonder why you got blood on your hands because you help contribute to the problem. But then you sit around and talk about them. Oh, they ain't got it together yet, or they doing this and they doing that. But you help contribute to the problem. So I'm like, Lord, this is foolishness. So a part of when I was talking about with favor coming in and God opening up doors, it didn't come easy. It took sacrifice. Even when I didn't deserve it, God made a way out of no way. Provision, that'll humble you. Shoot, being a single parent will humble you. You have sometimes even families, look, this is why I talk to everybody. You can have couples that are married but single. You can be in a relationship. I played wifey. Was gonna get married, but then didn't. Because you know how we do sometimes. We'll play house and everything else, but then in the back of your mind, like that this ain't for me, but you'll stay and you'll settle. So this was why I don't understand when folk, God know my heart and I do. Yeah, he know your heart, but he got me to a place where he applied pressure for me to make changes in my lifestyle. So what I do right now, it's a lifestyle for me. It's a mindset. So I started recognizing that I would see people in the church, or people of family, people close. This is why the type of people that are drawn to me, they're drawn for a reason. Those will be the same ones that talk about you. And where I'm at now, look, I understand you ain't got a pot to piss in. So this is why I don't even take stuff, by heart sometimes. Because we all go through stuff. We all have different, things that we experience between cultures, race, all that different stuff. But it's something about my people that we keep ending back up in these same cycles and patterns, some of which are individually, some are collectively as far as our families. Come on, the generational curses. This is why I said, this is the time. So it will hurt my heart even just being at work where recently I've seen more of my people in there. Black folk, all different health issues. I'm talking about all different ages. This is why I told Laura I'm ready to retire. I need a vacation because it's different when your motives are pure and you got a pure heart and you really do care about people. And like I said, at the same time, I got that block. I'm a little off because folk, it's not reciprocated. But because God placed it inside of me, inside of his people, some of them is still in there. He just got to break off those hardened layers, those callous parts, because hurt and pain will harden your heart. Regret, bitterness. When we expect more out of people, it'll harden your heart. I know quite a few people, and I have to talk to them who hate their parents, hate family. If it wasn't for God allowing me to go through different things and self-reflect and see myself these previous 7 to 8 years before he pushed me out to go to work, I probably would have hate too. I'd probably be bitter too. Not against just my own people, other races. Because when you just sit back and do you have those moments sometimes where you just be like, this is crazy. Like, this don't make no sense. Make you just sit around and look just like, am I tripping? If it wasn't for those things that he allowed me to go through before now, I would be the same way. I thank God, even when it's hard, That's why I said, Lord, some folk really must be about to, I believe it. Some folk really about to get saved for real. Folk about to get delivered. I mentioned before, I even got a chance to put my customized license plate on my car, my other one. Jesus saves. Got in an accident. I said, Lord, you're going to save a lot of people. I've received it. Gotta be. Gotta be. My car should be ready this week. Thank you, Lord. But the little things that we take for granted, even just life, this whole pandemic, I watch people struggling to breathe, struggling to, we think things won't touch us. And this is why I say when I mention as far as Black folk, we cannot do what everybody else does and get away with it. We have some of us that may have made it or doing better, or we want better for our children. And it is some. But as a collective, we're still suffering. We're seeing those wake-up calls as far as those who didn't even do anything wrong. We seeing innocent children. We seeing loved ones. And some stuff, like I said, a lot of it's spiritual. But we see the same sicknesses, diseases. This person died of cancer. This person died of cancer. The word says that we will do greater works. So we're not even operating in our gifts. We're not even operating in the works that God is placing inside of us, but we just going about as business as usual. This year is different. Every year is different because it's a new year, first of all. But some people are okay with just going to funeral after funeral. And, I had to tell the Lord, you're going to have to, he's doing it anyway. Strengthen me because I'm dealing with stuff over here. I said, Lord, thank you, Holy Spirit. Think it not strange, again, the fiery trials to try you. The enemy's goal is to put our light out. The enemy's goal is to capitalize on as many souls as he can. Even with me working in healthcare, I have seen people on their deathbed. Some get saved, some that were evil, and they were old. From the spiritual side, right? It's unfortunate and it's sad that it takes AIDS, that it takes death, loss, whether it be financial loss, any kind of loss, of loved ones, of a house, of a car. I told the Lord, I don't need all that. Lord, I trust you. I hear you. For people to see, for people to wake up, for people to pay attention, for people to see that it's a lot deeper and realer than you think it is. God has been giving us so many opportunities, some which that don't have right now, to get it together, to come to yourself. They say come to Jesus moments. Come on, pay attention. Look, you've seen this before from generation to generation. You've seen this before, your choices in finances. You've seen this before in your spending. You've seen this before in your children. You've seen this before in your grandkids. But we just keep going about business as usual. Foolishness. Folk prophet lying and all. I'm so allergic to false stuff. Lord help me, Jesus. All these folk, everybody's a prophet. Everybody's prophesying about the blessings and all this other stuff. But folk don't tell you about this stuff. It's conditional. The blessings are conditional. Folk getting cursed because you thought, look, my whole life growing up, that's all we heard about was the blessings, the blessings, the blessings, and prosperity, which is real. But then I don't remember hearing about that part about it's conditional, about based on your lifestyle, based on the choices you make, based on how you serve God and your relationship and being saved and all this other stuff. People make you think that you can just have what just like the world. We can have whatever we want. It's just gonna come to you, fall in your lap like a genie, like Aladdin. Baby, no, it's not. It's not. Folk going to see, look, witch doctors and what's some other ladies? What the mother folk called? And this women and men though. All the mother folk that tell you fortune and all this other stuff. Tell me my future. Some things you don't need to know because they might tell you about to die. Look, some things you don't need to know. Oh, just all over the place, turned out all over the place. And I'm just like, this, I said, Lord, I'm tired. So it hurts my heart when I even have been around people. I go to work. Folk didn't try to commit suicide. They didn't overdose, sickness, disease. And then, even with family and people close, you see who really close when they come see you. Come on. Them same ones, they don't be there. Ain't that something? So that's why I said, Lord, I understand when you say, teaching me to guard my heart. Because it's something when things aren't reciprocated. Because I be thinking about myself too, just like how people treat people any kind of way. And I be like, do they not think they gonna come, or if they make it to get older, you may need some help, you may need some support, and y'all folk be just doing folk dirty. You know, it's tax season, folk doing all kind of stuff, just from business everywhere. And it's just like, this is some foolishness. The level of shadiness, corruptness. I don't want no parts of it. Any level. I want no parts of it. So now that I'm seeing all these things taking place, and I'm like, just Lord, I'll take the breakthrough for everything. Because folk, you know, they don't realize the magnitude and the severity of the things that are taking place. This is why even a lot of people have church hurts and don't go to church. People that I even meet or conversate or just are seeking God. And you think God ain't gonna check the church? Well, you end up leading people astray. For one, before I tell folks, stop thinking folk of God anyways. But folk get caught up in their gifts and their talents and their anointing and their calling. You get caught up in the theatrics of, you might as well say, we've been doing religion, but not relationship. Because you can read all day. I mentioned that with getting degrees, everything. You can all day read a self-help book. You can read books on having children, but until you actually experience certain things, that's when that reality sets in. So now we have a generation of not knowing what to do, how to function. Everybody's so far left. I'm talking about hoes and thoughts and throwed and men and women. And I'm just like, this is foolishness. So when we talk about family, and you know, you ride for your family. Even though they get on your nerve. I always got dysfunctional people in our family that's special. They got that block, they look off, just don't listen. We all got them. We all got people on different levels in our families. You still love them, but you know they look off, right? You know they're special, they in their own ways, but you still pray for them, but you don't enable them. Come on. But when I look at as far as my people and the Black folk, it bothers my heart. All the different things that I'm seeing, not even realizing how deep it is. Many don't see the enemy wants us taken out. I'm not even going to go to scripture. I'm just going to keep it real. Look around. All you got to do is just pay attention. I used to think that, Lord, what is this? Like, why is it so much harder for us? You know, or why we got so much division in our own culture, and the bitterness and the hate and the, you know, tearing down each other, and our kids, you know, struggling in school, or, you know, just family issues and all this stuff. I'm like, what is this? It's a part of a setup. Whew, on top of getting our attention. We can't do what everybody else does and get away with it. The consequences are greater. When you're chosen, come on, many are called, but few are chosen. So when you're chosen, as far as God's people, my people, you can't do what everyone else does and get away with it. The consequences are greater because God expects more out of us. Even though it's a lot of things that we missed or we didn't know growing up from generation to generation, even our ancestors, our parents, or different things, we missed it. We didn't know. It was a lot of things that were hidden. We were stripped of a lot of things. That's why I mentioned when I say it's easy for somebody that has everything or has degrees or has everything given to them, entitlement, to say that, oh, I can do this and I can do that. But what about those ordinary people that just try to go to work? I'm talking about my Black folk, because you got other folk that can relate, but it's different. So then when I see my people, you know, ready to take their life or, you know, I say, we got to think about it like this, about the consequences and taking responsibility and accountability. That's why I say that was the biggest thing that God dealt with me about, taking accountability for my part. Even though it was people that may have hurt me, even though it was things that seemed like it wasn't fair, I didn't sign up for this. You don't ask for, you know, what family you were part of, this and the third. He allowed me to see I got all that. I did it for a reason. but you're accountable for your part. You can blame everybody. You can point the finger at society, statistics, your job. You play a part. So when I said it was different for my people, it wasn't making sense, because most of us are either in like CNAs or factory jobs or the laboring jobs. You have some of us that may have made it and established themselves, and but as a collective, we still fighting to still breathe, to live. And then you have other individuals that will make it and get it, and you just as corrupt as the world. You just as evil and corrupt as everybody else. Your motives, let me say it like this, your motives ain't pure. Or then you so distracted and thrown where you're not honest. So it's like, my people, do you really want to see ourselves, our communities, our children grow? So people will say they about that life and they about this and all the other stuff, but until you actually have to go through something, like they did back in the day, oh, you ain't finna go to jail. You don't want to go through anything, but we dying anyways. Our people dying anyways. You want the glitz and the glamour and everything else, but folks still dying. You depending on the system. Like I said, that's why I got frustrated with women, because I'm like, I'm not a baby mama. Yes, I made mistakes, but I learned from mine. Make it harder. I've had to fight stereotypes, stereotypical stuff on so many different levels till people actually get to know you. Come on, how we judge a book by its cover, because this is why social media got folk messed up and thrown, TV, everything. Where you think the ratchetness and the depiction of thugs and with the chains and this, or even just the stereotypical Black people, that we all the same. No, everybody's not the same. We're different. Just like you different, any other race, culture, you different too. But you got every other race that will stand with their own people. We are the only ones that stand divided still. From our own families, we divided. We divided when we go to work. We divided on so many different levels. People dying. And like I said, it's getting younger and younger. I'm talking about total care. You might say kind of like vegetables. I'd be like, Lord, this hurt my heart. Because until some stuff you see directly, it brushes off. Because everybody, I got this business, I got this, all this. I don't do this for money. I don't do it for fame, and I don't do it for likes. I tell folk, God gives provision for the vision throughout my whole life, and especially I'm gonna say my whole life, I've obtained favor with God and with man. So people, this is why he moved folk out the way, because you want people to see that, oh, I did this for you. I did that for you. God will move people out the way just so they can't say that I did this for you. It won't nobody but God. Sometimes he allows that to happen. It's unfortunate, like I said, it take all this stuff, a whole pandemic. Look, we hard-headed. The pandemic, look, war, look, because we won't listen. Family members dying right and left, God allowing some folk to go home, some folk just tired, some folk being murdered, some people, just a lot of stuff. Accident, anything. They want to tell folk, pray over your people. Pray for yourself. It's folk that pray for me. Hug your loved ones. Don't take life for granted. So when I do what I do, and even with just God pushing me within God's timing, I used to say, like, or even people that I would meet, where are the examples of the role models? I can't relate to certain people because everybody's so perfect. So when God began to start working and doing different things, he did it through relationship. He did it through common things that we suffered, right? Things that we went through, but we're trying to level up. So God will send the right people across your path and connect you to the right people, because people are more prone to wanting to do something when they know somebody else has been through it. They're more prone to talk about what somebody else has been through. And we all have our own story. We all have our own journey, right? But it's uplifting when somebody else can encourage you, because I've been through this before. I've seen this before. But instead of helping each other, we just watch each other go down the same roads of destruction or worse, instead of correcting things. Instead of saying, look, I done messed up. I ain't perfect. We don't say anything. So then that trickles over into every area of our life. It's affecting business. It's affecting how you do everything. And wonder why we can't even grow with Black businesses. The level of shadiness, that's why I say, like, this is foolishness. So that's why I said I see it. When you talk about a mental block and folk being a little off and conditioning, I said, this thing right here is deep. That mental slavery, just that mind, it is deep. But at the same time, some folk, it's easy to stay right here comfortable than to push forward or to support somebody else or to want better, to dare to be different, despite what life threw at you or you took on yourself. Knowing that you can be more than that you don't have to be a product of your environment. But that humility piece is real. Don't ever forget where you come from, because sometimes we do that now with folk. The cars, the houses, the degrees. Folks say they Christian, not Christian, also, and you do. I don't care who you are. What you do, it comes back. You reap what you sow for real. It's not in your time, and it's in God's time. So right when you're on the pinnacle of what you think is life success, He'll snatch it from you. He'll allow it to be snatched. This is why I say even just not being in connection with people that got too much going on, because you know when folk be doing stuff evil or wicked, you be looking like, or they say something crazy, you be looking up like the lightning finna come down. I said, Lord, I ain't with everybody. To each his own. But I said, even with the church, I said it's sad, and with our families. That you sit back. This is why I say I don't play church, and I'm sick of it. I'm completely irritated with the foolishness. And I know God is. That's why I say, Lord, it's finna go down. Many will say, Lord, Lord, I prophesied in your name. I did this and be going straight to hell. Putting on a facade in the front. I don't want to play like that. I don't want to play church. That's tough folk. I don't want to play like that. Folk testing God. And like I said, he's been given ample opportunity for folk to get it right, to correct stuff, come out of sin, etc. All the above. So at the end of the day, I'm going to keep it moving. Take it one day at a time. Because I said some things, like I said, I want no parts of it. All this hypocritical stuff, this false prosperity movement with some folk, look, that's why I said stuff is conditional. If you doing what you want to do, baby, it may not be God that gave it to you, because Satan will bless you too. We can see that across the board. You see it every day on social media, entertainment. Satan will bless you too. So what you think is a blessing, it may be actually a curse. But because you see the money and you see these other things, it'd be more than what you think it was. Don't allow your gifts, talents, and abilities, don't allow life and everything else to get you to a place where you forgot where you're coming from, because it's a lot of folk out here, especially my Black folk, not just the basic ordinary people, but I'm talking about live stream as far as in the entertainment business, different people, pastors, preachers, you touching, you playing with fire. You play with fire, you get burned. This is why I say, what type of family or people is around certain folk? This is why I thank God for having authentic people around me. Because you sit back watching folk going left. Then when they spaz out or have a moment and they show the reality of human, then you talk about them. But you ain't say nothing about the stuff they doing. You might be going a little too far. This might be a little too early. It is no in between. You entangle. You can't do both. You're going to have to choose which one you going to do. Yeah, the enemy will give you all the deals, all the fame, it sounds real good. And some folk leading their children right to destruction. Everybody want to be famous. Man, look, it costs. Well, folk living through their children. Folk living through Look, and they sit back, well, get your money, and when they die, who got it? I almost said something else. Who got it? The system, the government. Didn't do nothing with what you had. Didn't build generational wealth. That's why I said, what do we really have? We can't run and hide. Some people, might be building for their children, but as a collective, besides bags, cars, and houses, what do we really have? Jesus. I said, Lord, I want no parts of that. Because that stuff is real. I tell folks, the choices that you make, and the generation now is suffering. Losing their mind. I'm talking about different ages. I ain't just talking about my age. I'm in my 30s. But I said, Lord, I'm too old for this. Look, I'm getting older to where now, well, look, I'll be to the point where I don't want to play games. I said, I got the kids. I don't want to play games with nobody. You got one life to live. That's all you got. Ain't no coming back. Whatever you feel, you can think about reincarnation, all these other books. That's all you got is one life. It is more parents and grandparents burying their children and grandchildren in the Black community. You think that's coincidence? This is why I say you can't do what everybody else does and get away with it, right? God allow folk to get touched. And in some stuff, you walked into it. But the thing about it too, because God is a just God, it ain't just our people. That's why we saying, folk, don't think you done got away with stuff. Because I see other races too. Because what you do to my least, I will do unto you. That's word. This is why he tells us to move out the way. Get your heart right. Yes, God has blessings for his people, overflow. He will give provision. I am a living testimony of walking by faith and not by sight. Even though, look, can't see stuff, it don't feel right. I'm like, Lord, what you got me doing? He is showing different perspectives through his people, so people can identify and relate to different people that God is using, to show that you could have went through all of this, but I can still bring you out. You can have the degrees or you can have this, and I still bring you out. Because you were faithful over what you had, I'm going to bless you. So that's why I say so many have corrupted even just money. Come on, money is the root of all evil. It'll take over your mind. Well, you so caught up in the things of this world, money. Folk will kill over some money. Look, stop showing everything you got. Somebody will take it. They get jealous. They get to wondering. They get jealous either way sometimes, or just wondering about you. They already be watching you, so that just adds fuel to the fire. Being mindful. Because I said, it just, like I said, Lord, and I'm going to wrap this up. It hurts my heart. And this is why I have to guard my heart. The amount of deaths. This is why I be saying, Lord, I ask that you save souls. Have mercy. Let me just go and pray me out and I'm done. Lord, I ask that you continue to save souls, Lord. Drawing your people closer back to you, Father. Lord, forgive us where we have missed it. Everybody's not comfortable, Lord. Everybody doesn't want to bow down to the systems of this world or to the ideological, stereotypical things, Lord. Lord, some of us are daring to be different because of the pressure that you've applied. Lord, have mercy on your people, for they know not what they do. They don't see it. Some of them don't. God, I ask that you open up their eyes. Lord, where some were cast down and cast them aside, Lord, I ask that you show favor. Lord, have mercy. Drawing them closer back to you, Father, because the enemy is going to and fro. God, I know that the death angel is running rampant. Have mercy, Father. Lord, I see you. I see it. I see it. I see it. Lord, it doesn't take for me, Lord, people to die close to me, to be out their mind. Lord, I thank you for keeping and sustaining my family. Oh, Lord, I thank you for keeping and sustaining those around me. Wrap their minds, dear Lord Jesus. Have mercy. Allow them to see and hear in this time, knowing that it is nobody but you that will sustain and keep us. So, Lord, I just thank you. I honor you and I praise you and I magnify your holy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So as I said, I continue to pray for people, but we have to learn to sometimes guard our hearts and move out the way, even for loved ones, even those close, and keep moving. We can't always wait for everyone, wait for people to get it right. This is why I say I want no parts of enabling anybody, allowing them to continue in the same state. We don't, of course, down anybody, but you have to correct stuff. You know, you have to address stuff. If you don't, it's going to come back at some point. And we will never grow unless we begin to change first. And it's a lot deeper. The things that are taking place are a lot more real. God has been giving us time. We are on his time limit, his time zone. Like I said, when you leave this earth, it's too late. So whatever you can do, whether it's giving wisdom, being a blessing, everybody don't want your money. That's why I tell people, I don't do this for money. I don't do it for fame. I don't even want to do it sometimes. I don't do it for that. But because I love God and him pressing in on me, and because he called me to it and anointed and all that other stuff, that's why I say, man, there's more to it. Folk want it, but you don't want the cost. You don't want to bear the cost. It's not about you. When God is using you, it's not about you. It's not about what you want. Too many folk caught up in themselves, and along the way, you're tearing people down. Along the way, people are getting hurt and bruised. I'm talking about the church. Along the way, because they trust and believe in you. That's why we telling folk, we are fallible. People make mistakes. Don't put all your faith in man. Put your trust in God. Pray for them and keep it moving. But when you have people with a callous heart or get stuck in their ways, it is damaging people. For you to ride with somebody or be supportive of somebody in ministry, family, whoever, and then they'll do something just gone like nothing ever happened. People are getting broken by that. And you think God ain't just, I want no parts of it. I want no parts of it. Because you got people out here that need to be saved and delivered, that are seeking help, that are battling on so many different levels, battling demons, battling all kind of stuff, trying to just stay afloat. On top of you got all these other strategic things that have been in place. I mentioned the biggest thing that the enemy has taken is your time, because you can't get that back. By choices, mistakes, everything, generationally, the enemy has stolen our time. And you can't get it back. You can't go back to be 15. You can say 30 is a new 20 if you want to, but you still you still 30. You can say 50, 40, and you still 50. You could whatever. You could say that all you want. So it's better to wait on him and correct stuff. But I'm saying this too as a warning. That's why when I do different things, we talk about real stuff. I do stuff in the community. I told you, in God's time, it's family. We partner with people. We support other businesses, not just Black-owned businesses, but other businesses that support and help and sponsor. But you want stuff, you're going to have to help and support if you want change. That's why I say, do people really want better? So I wish you all the best. I pray for y'all. Like I said, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I pray for everyone. God is pushing us to a place where sometimes you have to leave people behind. I done had to weed out friends and people close. You know, it's unfortunate because it hurts when it's people that's close to you that don't want to see you succeed, that unconsciously slip. It's sad. But because of the heart that I have that God has placed inside of me, I believe in you. I believe that you can be in myself all that what God has called you to be, regardless of what we see on the outside, regardless of your wrong decisions, everything. God is a transformer. He will transform your heart, your mind, outside and in. He is a redeemer of the time. Nothing lost, nothing missed. So y'all be blessed and y'all have a wonderful day. I'm Angelica with In God's Timing, and I will talk to you all soon. Talk to you soon, YouTube.